Welcome. I'm Randy Osborne. You're listening to the Bible Science for Kids podcast from a uniquely young earth, biblical creationist perspective. This is Cycle 2, Lesson number 12, Solar System Bodies. But before we start today's lesson, let's do a quick review of our last lesson. Do you remember? What are the phases of the moon? Answer. The phases of the moon are, first, from the shadow, new moon. Second, a sliver of light, crescent moon. Third, the half bright moon, quarter moon. Fourth, almost full, gibbous moon. And fifth, the brightest reflection, full moon. Who's proud of you? I am. Now for Cycle 2, Lesson number 12, Solar System Bodies. When we think about space, we often picture the sun, the moon, the planets. But our solar system is also filled with many smaller bodies that still play important roles in shaping the universe. These include asteroids, comets, meteoroids, meteors, and meteorites. Though smaller than planets, these objects are full of energy and matter, and scientists study them to learn about the history of the solar system. Psalm 19:1 says, "The heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of his hands." These amazing space rocks created by God help us understand the power, order, and beauty of his creation. Listen to what God says to us in Psalm 19:1, New Century Version. "The heavens tell the glory of God, and the skies announce what his hands have made." Question: what are some of the other bodies in the solar system? Answer: some other bodies in our solar system are asteroids, comets, meteoroids, and meteorites. First, asteroids, star-like rocks. Asteroids, from the Greek aster, which means star, plus oides, which means like. Star-like. There is a relatively large gap between the orbit of Mars and the orbit of Jupiter around the Sun. But this gap is not totally empty. This region of space contains millions of chunks of rocks that orbit the Sun. They range in size from a few feet wide to one that is 600 miles wide. The biggest asteroid was also the first asteroid ever discovered. Ceres, spotted by Giuseppe Piazza in 1801. None of them have enough gravity to hold an atmosphere, so they are lifeless. Some scientists have speculated that maybe they used to be a planet that somehow broke into pieces. But even if they were all together in one piece, it would be even smaller than the Earth's moon. Speaking of moons, approximately 850 asteroids apparently have their own moons. These are called binary or multiple asteroid systems. Many asteroids are rich in iron, nickel, and silicates, common elements found in Earth's crust. Most asteroids in our solar system are in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, but there are some exceptions. Amor, Apollo, and Trojan asteroids cross the orbits of Mars, Earth in a different plane, and Jupiter, respectively. Next is comets. Dirty young snowballs. Comets are made of frozen gases, dust, rock, organic molecules. Comets orbit around the sun at speeds of tens of thousands of miles per hour, and their orbits are highly elliptical, like a circle that's been seriously squashed. When a comet gets close to the sun, solar energy heats it up, causing it to release gas and dust, forming a glowing coma and a tail that may stretch for millions of miles behind it in space. A comet's tail always points away from the sun due to the solar wind. Sometimes the Earth passes through the path of a comet's debris. When we do, we see a meteor shower at night, like the Perseid shower from the middle of July until late August. One of the most famous comets is Halley's Comet, predicted by Edmund Halley, which appears about every 76 years. Halley witnessed the comet in 1682. In 1687, he studied and applied Newton's laws of motion, those mathematical formulas, to calculate the comet's orbit. He also studied astronomical records of comets, history. He was studying comets with similar paths across the sky, and he discovered that in 1607 and in 1531, comets appeared with like characteristics to the one that he witnessed. Finally, in 1705, Halley predicted that his 1682 comet would return in the year 1758. And Halley was correct, though he did not live to see it again. So it was named in his honor. Words that are named for people's names, like Halley's Comet, are called eponymous words. Not hippopotamus, eponymous. Because of the rate at which gas and dust are released while comets travel near the sun, a typical comet could last no longer than 100,000 years. So, while the actual evidence indicates that comets in the solar system are young, secular scientists, with zero observational evidence, imagine distant, unobserved reservoirs of comets, and even name them, the Kuiper Belt and the Oort cloud, to allegedly replenish the rapidly disappearing dirty snowballs. Otherwise, their estimated age of the solar system, 4.6 billion years, would not seem to fit the evidence. They are putting a lot of faith in imaginary evidence. Next is meteoroids and meteors, flying space rocks. Particles in space that are smaller than star rock asteroids and dirty young snowball comets are called meteoroids. Meteoroids can be as tiny as dust grains or a grain of sand, or as large as a pebble or even a boulder. When a meteoroid enters the Earth's atmosphere, it becomes a meteor, a streak of light that we call a falling star or a shooting star. Meteor showers are best seen after midnight when the Earth crosses paths with comet debris. That's because this is when the atmosphere directly above us is headed directly forward in our path around the sun. Copernicus was right. The Earth is moving through space. With speeds of up to 45 miles per second, the meteoroid experiences huge friction from the Earth's atmosphere, which causes most of them to heat up and burn, transforming kinetic energy into light and heat in just seconds. Very few meteoroids are massive enough to survive long enough to reach the Earth's surface. The few that do survive and hit the Earth, something like 1 in a million, are the final category of other bodies we will study in today's lesson, meteorites. Meteorites are migrated space rocks. If a meteor, which is often rich in iron and nickel, survives its fiery fall and lands on Earth, it becomes a meteorite. These migrated space rocks can be found on land or even in Antarctica, where they're easier to spot with the white snow and ice. Meteorites are precious to scientists because they are physical pieces of space that can be touched and studied. Usually, we must risk our lives to venture into space due to extreme temperatures, cosmic radiation, including X-rays, gamma rays, solar flares, the oxygen-free vacuum of space, which can produce decompression and asphyxiation, and micrometeoroid impacts at 17,000 miles an hour. But meteorites means space rocks are coming to us. They may contain rare minerals or metal alloys. Scientists like Eugene Shoemaker helped explain how impacts from meteorites shaped the moon. Earth is affected much less because God placed a protective layer of atmosphere around the Earth on day 2 of Creation Week. Question: what are some other bodies in our solar system? Answer: some other bodies in our solar system are: first, star-like rocks, asteroids. Second, dirty young snowballs, comets. Third, flying space rocks, meteoroids. And fourth, migrated space rocks, meteorites. Listen again to what God's Word says to us in Psalm 19:1, New Century Version. The heavens tell the glory of God, and the skies announce what His hands have made. When to watch for meteors? When the Earth passes through the trails left by old comets. For the Perseid comet's Swift-Tuttle debris tail, late July through middle August. Late July through middle August. For the Leonid comet Tempel-Tuttle debris tail, middle of November. Mid-November. Thank you for listening to the Bible Science for Kids podcast from a uniquely young Earth, biblical creationist perspective. I hope to see you next time for Cycle 2, Lesson number 13, United States Space Missions. Until next time, this is Randy Osborne, reminding you to keep trusting and serving the Lord.